Welcome back to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We're brought to you by Pelican, built tough for all situations. Go to pelican.com. Yak Gadget, for all your fine kayak fishing accessory needs. Go to yakgadget.com. Eastport Marina, on the beautiful shores of Dale Hollow Lake, for all your lodging, kayaking, and fishing needs. Go to eastport.info. Now let's get this show started.
What's going on, everybody? Brad Hicks.
Matt Souders.
Coming at you live. What's going on, dude?
Yeah. Oh, you know, I'm living the dream, enjoying it. I'm super pumped. We have one more day.
Oh, I know. Well, when this airs, it'll already be past.
Yeah, it'll be past, but this is the most excited everyone's ever going to see me until this is the start of my season with Dale Hollow coming up. So,
well, you actually got some exciting news yesterday, man. You want to share that?
I did. I got super exciting news with the help of Loveland Kayak Canoe, the owner Mark and Brad Hicks here. I was accepted on Team Bonafide as an affiliate, so that's pretty awesome. I'm pumped.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. I remember.
Yeah, I've been.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I've been looking forward to it. You know, it's cool to be on the team, and it's for a product I definitely like stand behind. So there's a lot of good kayaks out there, but I haven't found anything I don't dislike about Bonafide so far. So I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah, I remember you first got your Bonafide last year, right? Like summertime.
Yeah, I got it. I was in the Big Fish before that, which it wasn't. I mean, it did the job. The kayak did the job. It wasn't a bad kayak at all, but it was heavy, like really heavy for what it was. And obviously, you and me, we fish quite often together, so we're fishing rivers and skinnier water and water we're having to fight to get drop ins in and stuff. So I wanted to go with a lighter option. So I went with the RS 117. Fantastic kayak, super light, and for big water, I've got an XI3 on the front of it, so it works. It's great and affordable. So
heck yeah. I'm pumped for you for sure, and hope to see you in the P127.
Oh, that's the plan. That's the next step is to get in that new P127 because oh boy, it's sweet.
Heck yeah, it is. I'm pumped. I want to get one myself, but yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get into the show, dude. I'm pumped. We got a cool show planned. Matt uses this product, so he's got some stuff to talk about. It's going to be more of a review kind of episode. We're bringing on Justin Marshall, our buddy. What's up?
What's up? What's up, J-Boy?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Not much.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Heck yeah,
of course.
Dude. Yeah,
how you doing?
Not bad. Just been prepping some tackle for this weekend's trip. That's pretty much taken up the last 2 days, and it'll take up all day tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm already. Well, you know me. I don't have much tackle anyway, so I'm just gonna throw it in my box and go.
Yeah, I'm trying not to make the mistake of packing too much stuff, but I feel like I can condense it down. I've got some of the Plano Edge boxes, and I'm trying to put like chatterbaits, spinnerbaits, and jigs all in one box. Really, really trying to break it down to what am I going to use, what am I not going to use, what are the chances of me using this, and just a few options of each thing, not going overboard.
Yeah, I tried that when I started, and I have 2 totes full of plastics and like 12 Plano boxes. This is the last jig box I'm doing, and this is just Picasso lures.
The last jig box, so you have more than one jig box.
I'm bringing like 4, man. I'm an idiot, but I can't. I even told myself, I was like, Matt, don't bring. You know what they're biting on. You've read reports. You don't need to bring everything. But you know what I did get later today? I tied on an A-rig, tied on a Carolina rig. Yep. I tied on. I mean, you know, it's just I have a box of swim baits. Bringing all those. Why not?
You got a cool product. Maybe for another day you can talk about that. But the bags that you picked up that hold soft plastics, it kind of zips.
Yeah, the money. I actually have one right.
I was thinking maybe I needed to grab me some of those. I could.
What are they?
It's just a big Ziploc bag, basically, to put all your plastics in. And I'm going to be bringing a handful of quite a bit of plastics with me. Yeah, like that. I could just throw that in the bag.
Oh, Bass
throw that in the back
Mafia.
of the kayak, because I just put in a couple orders for tackle and got them here, and I don't want to open up everything. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, I put that on the list. So that's a good idea.
I can slide that right underneath my seat.
Oh
Especially
yeah,
since I just got the seat risers on the Slayer Max, and that would slide right underneath that seat.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's what I do with mine now. With the RS, like the Slayer Max, and then Brad, when you were in the 127, you had a little bit more room. The RS,
Yeah.
I kind of fight for real estate a little bit. So those bags are great because exactly what you said. I literally slide it beneath my seat. It's easy to grab. And it keeps, when everything's getting wet, everything stays watertight in this.
Yeah.
So this is just the throwaway bag. I've got, this is coming down. I've just got this full of random stuff. Bunch of Rage, Power Bait, Z-Man. I think there's some big bites baits.
You're going to be leaving with more stuff too, right?
Oh yeah, man.
Jimmy has all his crap he's giving away.
Yep. Oh, don't worry. I've got a tote of that, Stu. Don't worry.
It was between that or picking up the Plano Edge for the soft plastics. And just limiting me on like 15 to 20 soft plastics that I can bring. But I got some new Mega Bass stuff, little 3-inch swimmers, and I don't know. I put in that thing.
Jeez,
that will also slide right underneath my seat too.
Yeah, with the risers for sure. I tried that, and I'm like 2 inches too short to get it to slide like comfortably.
You do have the risers on your.
No, I don't. On yours, with the risers, I'm sure it fits right underneath it, even maybe without it, because I know the Native sits a little bit higher. The RS sits just a smidge lower. I need like 2 inches, and then it would probably fit. But those money bags have been great because it forces me to condense a little bit to where I'm not bringing 47 bags of plastics with me, and I can just put them in that bag, what I'm going to use that day, and then maybe a couple wild cards just to be safe. And then
Gotcha.
They're easy to get through and look at. But yeah, that Plano Edge box for plastics is awesome.
Yeah. Well, this weekend it might be a Meyer bag for me. We'll see.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna this episode we're gonna talk about the Yakima Rod Box. Matt owns it. Justin owns it. So we're gonna do a little review segment about it. Where do you guys want to start? Who wants to start?
We can, Justin, you can start. You've had it a little bit longer than me because I know, just like me, it's a kind of a holy grail product to be able to find. So
yeah, I haven't looked into it lately on what the availability is because I've owned it for about a year. Let's see, yeah, it's going on a year. I bought it in May of 2021.
You were on vacation when you bought it. I
was on vacation when I bought it. I got it in Panama City, which was not far. It was about 45 minutes from where we were staying on the beach. There's this family vacation we went to. And I had just started looking into the product probably 3 months before I went on that trip. I wasn't ready to buy it when I did see it, which was on Amazon. I think there was only 1 or 2 left. And then by the time I actually wanted it, it wasn't there anymore. So I checked. You can also find it on rei.com and you can find it on yakima.com. But those places you're going to get charged shipping, and shipping can be pricey on an 8.5 foot box.
Yeah, that thing's huge.
I even seen one site that had shipping for like $200. It's kind of dumb, but I think Yakima, right around $80, you can get it shipped to you. And then obviously Amazon, I'm pretty sure you can get it for free with Amazon.
Yeah, you can. That's where I got it because it was kind of the same thing. You had it, and then I remember you sent me and Brad like a group text of you like with a picture of it, and I was like, "Oh, you finally found one." Blah blah blah. And I remember the first time you took it out and used it, I was like, "Man, that's awesome." And I remember I was at a softball tournament, and I had because you can't find it on Amazon. I just checked; it's not even listed on Amazon anymore. And I had a notification set up, so when it came back in stock, it would notify me. I was sitting there, got the notification, and immediately hit. There said 1 left and hit buy now, and I was just hoping like it would
That's
ship.
the way you got to do it. You got to go into it already having decided that you want it, and then ready to go, have that money sitting aside, just ready to go whenever you find it.
That's exactly how it was. And it was to the point where I bought it, and then I text Stacy, my wife, and I was like, hey, can I get this? And she's like, yeah, sure. And I was like, oh, thank God, I already bought it. It would have been really awkward if she said no.
Yeah, but I was down in Florida and then decided to just take a look while I was there, because there's a lot more options as far as hole in the wall, kayak shops, and outdoor. I mean, they're dime a dozen down there. Everybody's trying to do that, being by the beach. And there's a place called Sunjammers. Really, really small. It was a cool place, but really small, as you would expect. The epitome of a hole in the wall kayak shop. And they said, yeah, we have it. We have one of them. And I said, could you just put my name on it? We're going to be going out to dinner later. And I just left like 2 hours early so that we can make the 45-minute trip to this place. Picked it up. I had to install it, which is, we'll get into it, but it's really easy to install. Installed it on the SUV that we were driving at the time, and then I just drove around with it I drove around with it even on the way home, and it wasn't a problem. So yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know you did that. I was kind of curious how you got it back home. That's funny.
Yep, just installed it. It didn't fit very well. It fit, but when you install this on an SUV, you have to move it forward so much, because the back door, if you open up the back door of an SUV, you don't want it to hit.
Yeah.
And the particular SUV that we own is a RAV4, a 2019 or 2020 RAV4, and you really have to have this box laying it's off center and it's too far in front of the vehicle. So I don't recommend it for a RAV4, because it was like almost 3 foot off the front. I could see it when I was driving home.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is did you see it hanging over, like when you put a kayak on your roof and it's 4 foot over?
At that point, it's uneasy because it's moving up and down and it's flexing a little bit, and it's not stable on the way home. So it kind of worried me, but we got home safely.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up, because I was kind of going to talk about the construction of it. Get your guys' take. The box, like, is it a sturdy feeling box, or does it have some give to it when you push, or what?
You want to go, Matt?
Yeah, either one. I mean, it definitely has some give, and that's kind of the first thing I got it. I put it on top of, because I had a Jeep at the time. I put it on top of my Jeep, and I was like, man, this has a little bit like give on it. But at the same time, once it's installed correctly, like it has supports under the whole bottom of it to where you can have a little hanging off on each side, but it has, the majority of the front, the middle, and the back has something to sit on. It's actually super rigid. I mean, it's we'll get into some other aspects of it, but to me personally, I think it has just the right amount of give to where it's fine. It'll move a little bit, but it's still rigid enough to feel sturdy. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, this definitely is not a toolbox. If this is something anybody's considering buying, and you just want to be able to throw it on top of a vehicle and it be a toolbox, it be something that you leave on year round. Yeah, I don't recommend it for you, because when you see the box in person and you're touching it and you're pressing on it, it flexes. It certainly flexes quite a bit, and it makes you feel, when you look at that price point on it, like, that's probably the biggest thing you have to come to terms with when buying this box, is that $600 price point, which I didn't have a problem with it, because I felt the purpose of the box far exceeded the price I was going to pay for it, and I know I'll get my $600 out of it.
Yeah.
But if you were to slam your fist down on it hard enough, I guarantee you could crack it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you misuse it and you don't use it for what it's intended for, kind of like you said, I mean, if you're looking to use this to put anything like a fishing rod, even a swim bait combo, like what I have, a super thick rod and a bigger reel, is going to be about the most weight you'd want to put in there. Like you wouldn't want to put something like hammers or anything like that. It's not designed for that. And just like you said, and I agree, if I got on top of my truck and just beat it, I could probably break it in half if I really tried. And
at least I wouldn't put hammers into it unsecured.
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't put an anchor by itself, because it'd be rolling around, especially a ball anchor. But if you're going to do some tools, like if you had a small sometimes they have these little starter kits. You might get something for Christmas or some ratchets or something, or a tool, a screwdriver set or something, or even a small. It's got hammers and pliers and stuff. I wouldn't mind putting that up there, but make sure it's secure.
Yeah.
Because there is space below where you actually store your rods, and you can put a 2-piece paddle in there. You can put your life vest in there. You can put several 3,700 boxes, low profile boxes in there as well, whatever combination that you want. So it's actually really nice.
Yeah, I've seen you fill up your box quite a few times, and I'm always impressed how much you can fit in there. How many rods can you throw in there?
You can put 8 8-foot rods.
That's pretty good.
And it's good enough for me because I usually only carry around 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So it's right up my alley. The whole purpose for me to buy this box was I like mid-sized trucks. I've always had my fishing rods right there in the front seat, and even with a extended cab mid-sized truck, I can still fit all of my rods from the front seat up into the back.
Yeah, but you don't want to do that.
I can still be doing that right now.
Yeah.
But the whole point was for me to get those up out of the truck, out of the cab, get them into this box where just to save space and easy transport. And that's exactly what it gave me. And that is the sole purpose. That right there alone was worth purchasing this product.
Yeah, I was about to say for me it was safety of the rods, because obviously when you put it in the front, your tips are, so like I like they're either bent or like I like using a little bit longer rods sometimes, so I could see, especially in my Jeep, for example, it would be the front seat, and they would all fit in there fine, but one of my longer rods or two of my rods would want to touch the top, and it just, if I had to slam on the brakes or something, I'd be afraid that would cause a damage or something along those lines. So I like it for the safety of rods. And then the aspect of, traveling with it. The big advantage for me with this is, let's say I'm driving, I see a little hole before or after work and I don't want to fish real quick. All my rods are there. They've got tie-ons, and I have two 3,700 low profile boxes in the bottom of it that just has basic terminal and some plastics in it that, I could stop, fish real quick and not have to, root through the back or anything like that. It just open it up, get what I want out. If I need a box, get it out, do something real quick, and cast a handful of times, and then I can leave. You know what I mean? So that's what's been great about it for me.
Now, I have put more than 8 rods in there, but it was for a short trip. When Will came with us on a river trip time, he needed to ride with you, and we went to, I think it was the launch spot.
Yeah.
And I put 4 of his rods in there on top of mine. So I actually had, I think 11 or 12 rods in there. And those retention bands will stretch a little bit. You don't want to stretch them a whole lot, because then when you actually have the correct amount, the amount that you're going to have in there, the majority of the time, you don't want those bands being too stretched out to where they don't touch them just perfectly. So, but on another note, the parts for this box are actually really cheap, which is one of the pros to owning it. Other than that, you can get away with 9 or 10 rods. You just got to make sure you know which end your reels are going to be on. Don't put it near a spinning reel that's going to swing around and get banged up and stuff. But if you needed to get away with that, you could. I only recommend it for short trips, though.
Yeah, I would like one of these boxes just for the simple fact my 7'4" rod does not fit in the cab of my truck at all, and I hate throwing them in the bed of the truck. So
especially with yours, because yours isn't even considered extended cab.
Yeah, it's like the half or whatever.
Whatever they tried to market at the time, where it's not quite. It's like room behind the seat, but it's not a full extended cab.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt, but it is what it is.
Absolutely.
I don't even have anywhere I would. I don't have anywhere that I would even be able to install that unless
You'd have to get a budget rack, which I think would be totally worth it with you doing construction and stuff too. You could totally benefit from the rack that I have on my truck is called an ADARAC, ADARAC.
Yep.
And they make 3 different versions of it. This is the mid-grade version. It's corrosion free. And I think it looks pretty slick. It looks like I have a work truck, and it looks like I would go out and renovate houses and stuff.
Yeah.
Do something commercially, but it's got a 2x2 square crossbars on it, and you can put any accessory you want, including this. I mean, it was $350 for that rack.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I went even more budget. I just went on the joy of Amazon in today's world. I went on Amazon, found a low profile truck rack on a
nice
lightning
rack.
deal for $190, and that's I mean it was, hey, it was there. Normal price was $250, so it's still not a bad price for a ladder rack.
Yeah, you can definitely find cheaper.
Did you hear Justin? He said you have a nice rack.
Yeah.
No, there's options, but I think your truck would benefit from it, Brad.
Yeah,
for sure.
I just need to get it done. I mean, I've been looking at truck racks for a while now. I just don't know what I want to do.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about a truck rack before I even decided to go that route with the truck, because I had a roof rack on the Jeep, and then when I got the truck, you were still talking about it putting on the trailer or something. Which,
now that I think about it, I don't know if I want to put a rack on the trailer. Maybe just throw it on the truck like Justin's truck, but I don't know. But I guess since we're already here, we can talk about how to install it. I mean, is it universal with any truck rack?
Yes, this box fits just about any crossbars that are on the market right now. I'd be surprised if you found one that it didn't fit.
Okay. Yeah. How does it attach?
So, first of all, the box is very light. It's only 31 pounds, so it's easy to pick up yourself as long as you're picking it up evenly. I have no problem picking up, holding it above my head, installed on my rack.
That's how much my kayak weighs.
Yeah, just over 31.10 pounds is all it weighs.
That's pretty good.
So that's probably the number one pro to own in this box. Easy to handle. You could do everything yourself. But once you get it on top and you open the lid, it pretty much has a slit going down the entirety of the middle of the box from front to back, with the exception it's connected in the middle. There you go. There's the how it holds from under the crossbar up, and then the threaded rods go up through what would be that slit I just talked about. Mm-hmm. From there, you get a plastic plate that sits. Those threaded rods go through there, the two holes on that plate, and then you take threaded knobs.
They're thumb screws, pretty much, just bigger thumb screws.
Just twist it down. The one thing you want to make sure you do, as with anything that's flexible and fragile, you want to make sure you don't tighten down too much, because the box can have a little bit of a flex when it's on your truck. If you look at it, you do not want to tighten this down too much.
Okay.
You want to go just enough. You want to do it evenly. You want to do this one first a little bit. You want to go up to the front and do the front one a little bit. Come back here. But once it starts to tighten down, make sure they're all even and leave it alone. Mm-hmm. Drive around a few times. Check it occasionally, because sometimes if you don't have it tight enough, those knobs will start to loosen just a little bit, and then you need to go a little tighter. But that's all you need to do. Just tighten it to where you need to tighten it and be done.
So it's a pretty quick and easy process then.
It's very quick.
Yeah, it's kind of like what he said at first, because I'm the over tightening king. If I can tighten something, I will tighten it until whatever tool I'm using doesn't work. And I did that, and I over tightened it, and I stepped back and looked at it, and you can see a little bit of a bow.
Yep.
So I went up, loosened it up, and I got it to where I just felt comfortable enough with it being tight. Drove around, it backed off a smidge in 4 or 5 days, went back up, tightened it back down. And I mean, on the Jeep, it was on there pretty much for what? I mean, my wife was in an accident in the Jeep, and the box didn't move at all. And I had 5 rods in it, and every rod was safe. And she was in a head-on collision. So, I mean, it totaled the Jeep with a steel bumper on the front of it. That's how, if you want to think about force. And the box didn't move. The rods were all fine. I mean, so you just got to trust the install.
The time that it would suck is if you flip the vehicle and then you just crush the box on top.
Yeah, forget it.
Yeah. You have more things to worry about if you flip your vehicle.
You also got to put into consideration how far your racks are. If you have a 6-foot bed, it's going to be a little more spaced out. Yours, I think you have a 4.5 inch bed, right? or
Me?
5 foot? Does it touch 5 foot?
I've got a 5.5 foot bed on the F-150, so I position my racks a little bit to where I'd get a little bit more over the cab of the truck instead of hanging off the rear end. So it's a little bit past my tailgate, but all the excess goes above my cab. But there's still plenty of support. I spaced my bars out as far as I could to get the most base lateral support that I could. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, let's hit that because you guys were talking about it in our group chat. The support bars, so they move back and forth.
No, he's talking about when you asked me. So underneath, I don't know. Let's see if I can find a picture of this underneath of it. If it gives a underneath picture, there's a basically it's almost like a steel tube that is just added rigidity or added support. I can't find another picture of it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So if you look at this picture here, you can see there's 3 dips in the bottom of the box that go horizontal to the box. Yeah, there's 1, there's 2, there's a 3rd one over there. Only one, the middle one is for your threaded rods and the piece that holds the box to the rack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The other 2, one of them has a metal rod going down it. Similar, it's just a circular tube. It's probably aluminum, and it's there for support, but it's only there in one of those grooves.
All the way front to back.
It's not all the way front to back. It's probably 5.5 to 6 foot.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's spaced right in the middle, so it gives the support. Like it's equal distance from the front. At least mine is. I don't know. Maybe maybe you can move them, but mine is equal distance from the front and the back. And it's
just
about
the space you would be putting on your on a rack, or when you mount it to crossbars or something. It's just the space that would be any of it that would be touching one of those for support. I take it so it's not so that you don't crack it, so that you don't.
Probably so it doesn't have any as much flex, maybe, to where it kind of keeps it from over flexing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't stand on one side of it.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
No, that's cool.
But
go ahead.
Going back to what you were talking about with positioning the rod box to where it's more so over the cab. Last year when I installed it, I had it perfectly even on my rack, and I noticed that there was a little bit of rattle with the box when I would go over some minor potholes or anything, speed bumps. If I had my window down, you could hear the lid when it was shut, that it would kind of shake a little bit, and it would at first kind of made me a little worried, made me think that if I go over too intense of a bump or hit something I'm not supposed to hit in the road, that it would crack the box. Fortunately, I never had a problem with that last year. And this year when I installed it, I just moved it up probably 2 inches, 3 inches further over the cab of the truck. And I don't seem to have any rattling so far this year.
Okay.
So just offsetting it a little bit and bringing it over the cab was all the difference. But even when it was perfectly even, like one of those pictures that you see in the pictures that they have there when they're on their site, shows it perfectly even, but it is a shorter cab truck and more of the rack is underneath the box versus mine were closer to the ends. Yeah, right in there, that go a couple pictures over to the left.
Right here.
Yeah, it's the one that.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's about perfectly even. That's how I had it, but that's a shorter bed truck.
Okay,
that's a carbon copy of how I have it pretty much set up with mine. I've got my truck rack itself is spaced out as far back and forward as I can, and then I have a little bit sitting over the front of the cab, a little bit more than that, probably I don't know, maybe 6 inches, and then I have my rear of it just even with my bumper, maybe a little bit past it.
So does it have like a series of holes all the way down the middle of it to where you can adjust it back and forth?
Yes, it's one. Yep. It's one slot that runs down pretty much the whole thing, but with there's some plastic in.
Oh, we lost him.
Technical difficulties.
You gotta love them, the joy of computers. but what he was saying, there's one slot. It's almost like a T slot in the middle for those Lord, the connections that you use on the rack, and that's completely open all the way. So it allows you to kind of set this up in any way you want, in any type of situation you want, depending on what your rack style is. So,
okay, I gotcha. That's cool. Does that make it any less waterproof then?
probably, like, I guess if you're getting like a sideways rain or something, I could see it, like if you're in a really heavy deluge. But I've never had water. Now, I've never had water in the actual box itself that I've ever noticed. And I've had combos in there that, like, I had a backup, a backup Texas rig combo that had a tungsten weight on it and a hook, and it was in there probably 6 months. I just never used it because it was a backup, and the hook never had any rust on it. The plastic still looked good other than being dried out. But in and of itself, it was I didn't have any major issues with it, and that's just with me. And we had some pretty heavy rain last year, so
yeah. Well, plus that little slot's on the bottom, so I mean, think like a raindrop. It's not going to go down and then up in.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have really a chance to roll underneath it. Like I said, I mean, like if you were getting like a sideways rain or something, I could probably see water scooting up in there, but it's up in a channel. So it's not flat with the bottom. It'll actually go back up.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Oh, you're good. Yep.
The laptop went to sleep.
Oh,
I
was curious what happened. I figured that was what it was. But...
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to that. Sorry about that.
Matt cleared up the little track while you were gone. He's talking about, because I asked if that made it any less waterproof or not. So I was going to get your opinion on it too.
I've never had any. I was telling him I've never had water in my box, and I've had a combo in there with a hook on it that has been there for 6 months, and it didn't have any rust or showed any signs of wear really on it. So,
yeah, the box is made to where if you have wet stuff, such as fishing rods, or if you had something else that was really wet, a life vest, you're supposed to be able to put it in there, and the water can drain from the box if needed, and it can also air out as well. So that's the way they market it. That's in the description on the site if you read it. So it does have holes in it, and it is a dusty box. This was one of the cons that I was looking into from a YouTube video before I actually purchased the product. And one of the complaints was that it's a dusty box. If you just drive around in the summertime, at the end of the season, you pull your stuff out, it's just, there's dust and things, and you just got to wipe out your box. And to me, that wasn't that big of a deal. I don't care if it's a dusty box because my fishing rods are getting dirty, they're getting wet. I don't care about dust.
Yeah.
But the reason those holes are there is just so it can air out and drain.
Yeah, unless you're riding around with your rods and reels nonstop, then that dust getting in there might be bad for it. But this don't seem like a rod locker type thing to like secure your rods from somebody stealing them. You know, this is more just for transporting.
The entire purpose for me for this box is so that is purely for transport.
Yeah,
I wanted to get my rods up out of the cab of my truck into this box when I'm ready to go to the lake, when I'm ready to go to the tournament. It's a to and from thing. I don't leave. I know, Matt, you do it a little different, but I don't leave my rods in there for extended periods of time. There are some exceptions. When I'm parked in the driveway and it's the night before I'm getting ready to go fishing, I'm getting ready to go on a trip, I'll probably preload that box, leave it out there overnight. It's not a bad neighborhood or anything. Should be just fine. Occasionally, if I need to run into a store on my way to a trip or something, I will also do that. But I'm making sure that I'm in and out in no time, because all you need is a really long, maybe not even a really long screwdriver. And you could pry that lid open and have what you want in a matter of moments. If somebody wants to get into the box, somebody wants to break the box, they certainly can very easily. Yeah. But for me, the whole purpose was transport, and it does just that by getting stuff up out of the cab of my truck.
That's cool. Yeah, it'd be kind of cool if they made like a diamond plate version or something.
They would, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And you're not wrong. I mean, my outlook on it is I park my truck in my driveway every night. And I was like that when I first got it. I put all my rods in it, take all my rods out of it, and then I drive to work all week, and then I'm ready to go. So I put them all back in there, and I found that I was still keeping a rod or two in my vehicle with me for the same purpose. If I want to stop somewhere and fish real quick, and I had a spare time, I would. Yeah. How I look at it is, if someone wants something bad enough, they're going to get it regardless. So I can have all 9 my rods in my truck cab, locked, alarm, everything. And people, if they really want it, they can just break a window, take it, and they're gone just as fast. And I've probably gotten a little lazy with it, I'll be honest with you, just leaving rods in there. I take them out every couple trips just to clean them, to make sure there's nothing on them and stuff. But
that's good to know. That's good to know. I know where you live too. Get one of those mega bass rods that you have.
Yeah. Let's not do that. That would be I just wouldn't.
I think I remember where you live too.
You do. There's no way you don't.
So I would take one of those rods, and then I'd feel bad because he'd be crying.
I would cry.
What's
I would
wrong,
cry
buddy?
like a little girl.
That's a good April Fool's joke, though.
I'll shoot you.
Hey, Dale Hollow will be at Dale Hollow in April Fool's.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
We're gonna have to mess with some people.
Not me. Don't mess with Matty boy. Not with his rods. You can do everything else.
I'm the king of messing with people on the water, so we're gonna do it.
We should mess with people during the tournament that they're out there.
Just paddle right up to them and ram them. Like, oh, I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah, we'll do that to who.
Start smacking the water.
But I want to mention something about the biggest con that I've noticed about the box. When I was watching YouTube videos, I noticed that a couple of the people said something about the hinges and the springs that are in the box when you lift up the lid and when you shut the lid. And the complaint was that one of the springs would just come undone and shoot out of the box when you open it up.
Oh yeah. And
that's exactly what happened to me. First, I've seen several reviews about this. Several people talk about it on YouTube videos. The hinges are junk. It's got to be something that they're getting enough feedback on to where that'll be an improvement on the future box if they plan on making a newer version of it. So far, I haven't seen much of a difference. The same box that I purchased, which was manufactured in 2019, is still the same box that's being manufactured right now, as far as I know. But it was like the first or second time I had used the box, and it was almost like if I didn't lift up the lid perfectly even. This is one of the parts where you got to baby the box.
Yeah.
You put the key in, turn it. Key has to stay in there. You can't pull the key out with it open. You have to turn the key back and lock the box, whether the lid's open or closed, to pull your key out.
Yep.
But something with that spring, I don't know if it's the way it twists when it goes down. I've got extra parts here. I'm going to get into that here in a second, but here's the spring. It is, I don't know if you can see that.
About 2-3 inches.
Yeah, and it's got almost a full circle on each side, but it's got the little gap where you can hook into a little loophole, or in this case, it's just a hole in the piece of metal on the hinge right there. It just hooks into that. For some reason, that just, in the process of opening the box or shutting it, it comes out of there and finds a way to shoot. It shot into the yard.
It'd be tough to find.
Yeah, it can be tough to find. Other people have had it shoot back into a dirt road or something, but
down in a storm drain.
Yeah, that is the biggest complaint I have about this box. They got to fix that.
Yeah, so it's a spring. The box works as a spring. There's no.
These just open up like this. The spring goes in between here. When you open it, the spring stretches out until you get it to that back position. Then it sits open.
Okay.
And then when you bring it back down, it just springs.
It's just a spring assisted lift, and I would 100% agree with the con. The biggest con for me, because I fortunately, and I don't. This is probably made out of wood. I fortunately haven't had the spring shoot at me yet. I've caught it to where it was like you were mentioning that half circle. I've caught it when the very tip of it was on the hole. And I was like, that doesn't look good. And I literally got my pliers off my kayak and like popped it back in.
It was getting ready to happen, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was getting ready to spring and just go off into Neverland.
Huh.
And the other big con for me, well, I stay on the spring thing. The lid itself, the biggest issue that I've had with it is, you're not wrong, the hinges are trash. And at sometimes when I'm closing that box, I have to press on the back of it, press it forward to get it to seat completely, so I can lock it, or it won't even want to lock. Which, I mean, it takes an extra 10 seconds just to, if it doesn't go down, just grab the back, push it up a little bit. It's almost like it's out of line, and it might be where my hinges might be bent a little bit or something, and I'm just not paid attention enough. But I mean, you already mentioned the biggest con to me is I can't take my key out when I unlock it. That bugs me to death because it's got to hang there.
Yep.
And I wish I could unlock it, take the key out. And the plus of it, I guess it's not even a plus of it, because I guess the plus of it, you can't leave the box unlocked, but the box,
you can't lock the keys in there either.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
true.
that's true too.
For that. And to me, that's not that big of a deal, because when I open my box, I'm usually ready to load it. I've got all my poles right there, or my light vest. My keys are going to sit there for a minute. I'm going to load it and be done. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Some people might be having it open for extended periods of time. But
yeah, and I don't even have it open for extended period of times. I don't know. It's just something with my mentality. I hate my keys hanging there. And it's mostly because my brain doesn't work right and I forget everything.
I do the same thing.
So I'll just leave my, like when we went out this last weekend, I was taking everything in the kayak, and I was like, pat myself, I was like, oh, where are my keys at? And I look back and they're just hanging from the Yakima box. I'm like, this is stupid.
I've done that with my toolbox at work so many times. I'll walk into the house like, wait a second. Yeah. Oh crap! Did I lock them in the toolbox? Then I'll walk out there and they're hanging from the lock.
Yeah, and it just bugs me. Like I said, I mean, when you close that box, if you don't have it locked, at least with my box, again, it might not be how it's supposed to be designed, but when I unlock it, it wants to open. It doesn't want to stay shut. So I mean, it's not like if you can't leave it unlocked, because it'll just want to pop open.
And you have your box positioned to where you got to get into your bed. And the open side is when you're standing in the bed, correct?
Yes, and I did that for the exact fact. You remember with the Jeep, I had that little step stool I'd bring with me so I can get on top of my Jeep. Or I'd crawl, or I'd climb up the back of the Jeep and hand you or Brad rods and stuff.
Yeah.
And the joy of the truck bed is I have it set to where I can get up in my truck bed, stand about chest height, open the box, get my stuff out, lay them in the truck bed, then close the box, and it's all kind of in the workspace. So that's how I set it up that way. I know some people set it up out so they're not getting in the truck bed and stuff. That's just how it works for me, and it's just made it a lot easier. So
yeah, Justin, you have yours the opposite way, right?
I have mine the opposite way, where I stand on the tire. I moved it a little bit in from the edge of the rack so that when I stand up, it's not like in my face and I'm falling off the tire. That works for me, but I can also see turning it around the other way, because it would actually make it harder for somebody to get into, a little bit harder for somebody to get into, because I have a tonneau cover as well, a low profile tonneau cover. And you have to be inside unless they just want to attack the hinges, open it from the opposite end. It might be easier. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's still that to me, it's the mentality. The way mine's is I have the full truck rack. So to get in, you have to duck in. You have to sit there for a second, and I guess it's kind of like the hope of the Good Samaritan. Like if someone sees someone in my truck bed like prying off the thing, they'll be like, some old lady Kroger will start throwing her bread at him or something.
Yeah.
It's that's how I sleep at night with all my rods being in there, until now Brad says dumb stuff, so now I'm gonna have to take them in every time. But
don't carry so many rods. There's your solution to the problem.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that crap either, because you give me crap every time I'm on the river with like 7 rods. And I only use 2 every time I'm out there. But it is.
There you go. But
go
ahead.
No, that's cool. But I was gonna say the way you have yours facing the tire, I couldn't do that because I have a bad ankle.
Oh, gotcha.
And if I slip off the freaking tire, I'm busting my ankle.
I thought about getting some. I know they make products to where it's like a step that slides over the top of the tire. It's just a temporary. You can just pull it on and pull it off, and it would give you a little more support. But whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Those have always sketched me out. I saw those for the Jeep too, and I was like, man, what happens if it like screws my tire up? Because tires aren't cheap, and
Yeah,
I'd rather spend that on tackle.
especially
So,
Jeep tires.
well, yeah, my tires were definitely not cheap, but yeah, I was actually I've been meaning to ask you that for a year. Why you have it set up to where it's pointed out, other than to where it's just easier to get in the bed, but to each their own. So.
Basically, presentation. I just like the way it looks on the
Yeah.
side. I can put it. It actually has some pretty nice spots to put decals if you want to put them. And I decorate my box a little bit, and it's got the nice Yakima logo right there with the red and black. It's a pretty slick looking box.
Oh yeah,
and I don't know, it just wouldn't. I'm not afraid to turn around. I would if I absolutely needed to, but I just haven't. I think it looks pretty good the way it is.
Heck yeah.
But who knows? That might change at some point.
Yeah, that's the good thing about the box. You can move it and do whatever you want with it.
Yeah. Let's touch on some spare parts for this thing, because anytime I have a product that I feel like I'm going to have for a little while, I always look into getting spare parts if I know something might mess up or there's that potential, or like I said, I just want to have it for a while. Now that you have the smart slot pulled up, that is the other additional upgrade that you can buy for this box. If you have the T-slot style like I have on my Atarac, this replaces that in the same way your track system on your kayak. So this here would slide into, I have a 2x2 square bar. This would slide into the bar, and that bolt there would come up through this hole, and then I would use one of the knobs. It would still go up through the box. It's just it takes the bulk away from the box. It takes the other.
It makes it more low profile, which was what's great, because even the only thing, like I said, I'm the over tighten king for everything, and it's to have like this style, you're tightening down to something instead of tightening it down to where it's like a pressure fit with that first style, with what it comes with. To me, it would just feel more secure. Now, like with my rack, I don't have the option to do this, but I just feel like this would be a more secure option than what the base, like what it comes with. You know what I mean? Like what I have on mine.
Yeah, it is going to be a little more secure, and it's also going to take away one of those knobs to where you only have one. So it's quicker to install and uninstall, and then it just looks more low profile.
Yeah,
probably harder to get off if somebody wanted to get it off.
Yeah, that's cool.
So for $25, you can have that. You can also look into, I certainly grabbed some of these hinges. Hinges are $11 with the springs. I recommend grabbing those, since that's probably going to be the first thing that goes on this thing. Grab yourself some hinges. The foam pads for where the rods sit.
Like those the rod tips?
Yeah, there's the rod butts or around the handle. Okay. Depending on where you position it.
Yeah.
Those are $3.50. So I got 2 of those, and then if your retention bands ever stretch out, these are $4.50.
That's not bad.
Just a few. Yeah, I spent like $30 and got 6 items here.
Hey, are those retention bands made, or are this like bungee cord?
It is bungee cord. It's not the paracord material.
Yeah.
Coated bungee cord. This is rubber, all pure rubber.
Hey, Matt, that might work for your rod stagers.
That's what I was just thinking about. Just to order those, because
rod stagers,
mine are starting to get a little loose in my box themselves, just from being, the difference to where mine are always on. Also, I can say I do not recommend this at all. But if you maybe just forget to put them over sometimes when you're driving, like some people I know, myself, your rods actually don't move around a whole lot. Don't do it all the time, but don't chance it. But I've lucked out, knock on fake wood again. I've lucked out to where I haven't had any major issues, and I drove home actually Saturday. I drove back, and I walked in the house, was like, did I put the bungees over? And I got up there and looked, and I lucked out. Nothing happened. And it's like the 6th time. But yeah, I actually need to replace my bungees just because they're starting to get stretched out a little bit. But yeah, those would work great for rod stagers. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of when I saw them.
You can go to Cabela's and they have a little pack for $2.99. It gives you the plastic ball where the bungee cord is knotted in there, comes around and that's $2.99. I just picked those up the other day if you want to just go with a more traditional approach to that.
That's a good idea too.
It works just fine. Yeah, you just undo the knot and pull one of the sides out and tie the knot again, and then take one of the balls off the other one. You get 3 or 4 of them in that package.
Huh.
Yeah, I need
Cabela's?
to do that.
Cabela's, yeah.
Sweet. I'm gonna have to go there.
Yeah, well, if you're going there, let me know because I work in Huber and it's very far away. So so I'm not gonna be able to go before we go, and we're gonna leave too early to make a quick pit stop, unless maybe
We're headed that
Sportsman's
way.
will have it. I know, but
we're kind of headed that way.
I mean, yeah, going down 70. That's how 75. I mean, but
and if you're coming from Fairborn, you will pass it getting to
675
if we need to take 75.
Yeah, I don't know what time they open. We can figure that out later.
Or I might have a spare one I'll just give you.
I mean,
if you just need one.
Free stuff's the great stuff. No, I need more than one because every time I go out anywhere, I don't have my rods secured on the rod stager, and Brad always says, "Oh, brave
on the
man."
kayak, right?
Yeah, dude.
I'm an idiot.
My rod stagers have saved my rods multiple times. Like
bungee, they saved it when you flipped it, right?
Yeah, they saved it when I flipped it, and then the first time I had the rod stagers, I knocked the butt of the rod out of the back one, and it was just hanging there from the tip. I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
Yeah, I just remember
rod too.
I remember when we were on the river at Franklin, and old Justin may or may not have lost a combo.
Oh
yeah. Fortunately, it wasn't a very expensive one.
Yeah, but still, I mean, a combo's a combo. And and then last year at Dale Hollow, I had an expensive combo go in the drink, and I went in and got it, and it was chilly, to say the least.
But you got it back?
I did get it back. It was in 5 foot of water, and I took my boot off. I had my boat boot off. I took my boot, my sock off, and I was feeling around with my toes, afraid. I was like, I'm just gonna get bit by a water moccasin and die out here in the middle of nowhere. And I felt the bail of my CI4, and I was like, and I slipped my toe around it and pulled it up, and you just see out the depths this red glorious thing. And then I proceeded to fish with it for 2 more days without cleaning it. It was awesome. It landed me like 4 fish. It was great.
I wouldn't clean it either, man. I've had some fluger reels that I'd get wet for like 6 years and never cleaned them.
Yeah,
but that's my old practice. I've got higher end reels now that need to be cleaned and stuff. But fluger, man,
but then
I never cleaned it.
You clean your Crowdo DC, and there's something wrong with it now.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be the way I just put it back together, but I only took the knob off and the side door, and a couple other things. But I don't know. It still casts just fine. It's just when I tighten the knob down, it doesn't stop. It still falls.
Yeah, it's just your clutches. I don't know. It could be anything. It could be, check your knob. It could be threaded on wrong to where it's not putting enough pressure on.
Jeez.
I don't know. It could be something simple.
Overseas made crab. I'm just kidding. I love Shimano.
All day. I'm about to say, don't talk about my precious like that.
Is there anything else you guys wanted to add about the box?
Yeah, let's just do a rundown of the pros and cons real quick. And so I made a little list here of what I consider to be pros. The first one is that it's lightweight. It's easy for you to pick up yourself, move in and out of inside and outside if you need to. For me, I bring it downstairs. I have it on year round except for about 3 months out of the year, which is the winter and the elements are most harshest. And I feel that's just me. I take care of my stuff.
Yeah.
And it's the one extra step you can go just to really make an improvement on your.
I'd leave mine year round. I don't take care of my stuff. It's fine.
It's also a very good looking box. It's black and red is always a good combination.
Oh yeah.
And it's got what they call an aerodynamic carbonate textured lid, which it's shiny.
Just cool.
It's shiny and cool looking, and it kind of looks similar to like a carbon fiber look.
Yeah.
But it's a good looking box. It's easy to use. It's got a single system key is what they call. You get 2 keys with the box, and It's real simple. You stick the key in, turn it right, it opens up, put your rods in, strap them down in the little cushions. It's got what they call rod shields at each end, so that there's no way for them to slide very much, and it's not gonna hurt your rods.
Yeah, and the joy of those rod shields with their design, so everyone who's ever lost a tip in a car door or a truck bed, it's so the rod tips can't go into the hinge, so you can't ever slam the lid down onto it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those definitely a pro for those.
I have heard about people removing those rod shields just so they could get rods that are a little bit bigger in there, but I don't recommend it.
Yeah. No, you're tempting fate at that point.
And then it also has cheap parts, as I showed you, other than the box itself. And then the cons, the spring and the hinge, that's got to go. There's got to be an improvement on that. I haven't had any more problems since I had it the first time. I tightened that circle on the spring that was having an issue. You don't want to tighten it too much, but you just want to kind of pull that circle in to be a full circle on that on that spring if you can. And then I'm just careful the way I make sure I lift up my box, because if you do it with one hand on the lid, it kind of goes up a little, because it does flex a little bit. We talked about how it's plastic. It kind of goes up a little bit sideways, whereas if you take both hands, make sure it goes up perfectly even. I'm always sure to do that one step, take my time and open that lid right so that it doesn't happen again. But that spring needs an improvement. And then you might feel like it's a very fragile box. That's understandable. It's easy to break into if somebody wanted to break into it. I have seen some people have cracks in their box. I don't know how that happened, if it was in transport, but I've seen some of them for sale on Facebook Marketplace in faraway states that have had small cracks and things. So again, it comes down to installing it well and making sure you're following directions. It's not just a rugged item that you can just purchase and bang up and do whatever you want with, as much as you might want to do that or think that it's supposed to be for that. You just want to follow the directions on this one. Some people say that 8 rods isn't enough. They wish that it held more than 8 rods. I can see that for maybe a tournament angler. For me, that's not a problem. I only have, I know what I want to throw, and I know I have my combos picked out to where I can do 2 to 3 techniques for each rod, possibly more. I don't need more than 8 rods.
Yeah.
Unless you're Matt.
Yeah.
Unless you're Matt.
And then, I already mentioned that it's easy to break into if somebody wanted to break into it. But like I said, if you own this box, the purpose should be that it's purely for transport. The night before I'm going out fishing, I load it up maybe if you're in a good neighborhood. But I'm not leaving my rods in my box for extended periods of times. If I'm going to get my box stolen, it's going to be a $600 loss. It's not going to be a $600 loss plus another $1,500.
Yeah. That would suck.
Yeah, that would be not good.
So I wonder if you can put like hydraulic hinges on it somehow.
That would be an expensive upgrade, it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm sure you could. I feel like the box itself, like Justin was saying, if you install it correctly and you follow the instructions and treat it like what it is, and it's not like a toolbox or a tough box you're putting in the back of your truck, like you treat it like it's designed to be, I feel like it has a rigidity enough to do its job without, worrying about it just like breaking or cracking. I honestly think that if you make any type of modifications to it and you put any extra stress on certain areas, that would lead the box to crack more. Kind of like I've seen a couple, like you were talking about, in Indiana, Michigan. I think I saw one in Oklahoma that actually had the crack on the bottom where you can tell someone over tightened it, and you can see stress fractures. And they're so like, and the guy who's selling it was up front. Awesome. But you can see stress fractures where he over tightened that material. But I think if you do it correctly and treat it like what it's designed for, not just beating it to death, I really think I don't have any problem thinking this is going to last me as long as I need it to.
Yeah.
And that's just me personally. I also would agree. I wish it could carry more rods, only because I just want more rods to be able to have with me. Like it's and I 100% where you're coming. Yeah, I know I could, but at this, like we're going to Dale Hollow, for example, for a couple days. Brad's coming with me. 8 rods in there, and then I have the rod tube that I actually got from you when you got your Yakima box, and then the joy of the rod tube, which it works great, and that's what I was getting ready to say. There are alternatives out there if you don't have $600 or you don't want to spend $600, or even if you do, they're hard to find just to get anyway.
Yeah,
you can build your own rod tube with a couple conduit lids, and
isn't PVC piping $600 right now?
PVC piping is really expensive. I mean, when I did my trailer, it was like $85 for 2-piece a 10-foot Schedule 30.
I think that piece that you have, I paid $55 for it, and I cut off 2 feet.
That's Schedule 40, I believe. Schedule 40, 6-inch. Yeah,
it's 10 foot.
So,
6-inch.
Yep, 6-inch, and with that you're looking at, let's say prices were back to how they were. You're looking at $50 and then $30 on Amazon for conduit kit carrier lids.
When I bought that kit carrier lid, there's probably a cheaper option, but I think I was paying about $75 for that kit. That's a metal one.
It is.
And then you pay for a nice padlock if you don't want anybody to mess with it.
Yep.
And that was another $12.
Yeah, which the plus of this, I actually think that the tube would be harder to break into for the simple fact that you have to have something to cut through Schedule 40, because Schedule 40 PVC, you're not just taking a claw hammer and breaking through it.
Well, likely if you're going to steal that, you're taking the whole thing.
Exactly, and you're taking the U-bolts.
The way it's held down,
Yep, and it's just U-bolts. It attaches pretty much. It's kind of the same thing to where you can almost use it on any type of railing. If it's too small, I could see an issue, but any 2-inch tube or anything like that, it'll attach great. And I can fit, I mean, I think at one point I met you guys at the river before I had my Yakima, and I had like 15 rod combos in that box.
Really?
Now, is that recommended? No, because your tips are going to get all jacked up.
Yeah.
But there's one improvement that I could have made to that. Before I put on that conduit carrier kit, I would have bought a foam piece and glued it to both ends.
Yep.
That way, when you push, you should have a rod sock on or a rod glove on your rods anyway. But it's just that much more cushioning when you push your rod tips all the way to the end. There's a cushion at the end. And I had thought about after the fact that I had already built it, maybe dropping a T-shirt in there. You should kind of be wrapping up some sort your reels and the tips anyway in some kind of fashion. Yep. But I would go back and put some foam in both ends of those.
That's a good idea.
I mean, that's all it is right there. I mean, obviously
exactly what longer. It is. But the conduit carrier kit's got some. No, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Yep,
got like a coating to it.
Yep. And that's what the tube looks like. And you can fit. I mean, they make 8-inch tube, they make 10-inch tube. I mean, you can make it as big or small as you want it to be, and that's $67 there. And then maybe now with pricing, you might be looking at $100 for the PVC, but you're looking at $150 just to round down.
Has it really gone up that much?
Oh yeah,
man,
is that just worst case? If a piece of PVC piping is $100,
I'm telling you, Schedule 30. Like I said, for a 10-foot, 3-inch Schedule 30, I paid, what was it, Brad? It was like 40 or 38.
38.
Yeah, $38.99 for one piece. So that's just to do
that was the 3-inch pipe.
Yep, that was 3-inch. So this is designed to be Schedule 40, so a little bit thicker, obviously 6-inch diameter instead of a 3-inch. But doing it that way, for under $200, you can have a rod carrier that's gonna transport rods.
Oh yeah,
and you can, especially if you really wanted to, for a tournament angler, like you mentioned. Let's say you're a tournament angler who likes to have extras to be prepared. I mean, in a 6-inch PVC tube, you could probably put 100 rods in that if you really want, with no reels. You could just throw rods in there all day long.
You have to have, I don't know about 100, but you really have to make sure you secure your rods if you're putting them in a plastic PVC.
Well, yeah,
carrier,
definitely.
Because I know of somebody, I'm not going to say any names, but put 4 rods inside, not wrapping them up, not putting any cushion or anything, and just drove. And this is what your rods are doing while you're driving. And he pulled them all out, and all 4 of them were broken. So you really have to just make sure you have to go a little bit. You got to go the extra mile if you're going to do this to build it, and then also to just take the time when you're putting them in and taking them out. You got to.
I can tell you with this same style one, I had, before I started selling through all of my older stuff, I had about 50 rods. Not all of them had reels. I had about 50 rods. I put socks on all of them, and then I just took the little rod. You can get them at Bass Pro or Cabela's, the little rod Velcro holders. and I got about 50 rods in that, with some of the butts going that way and some of the butts sticking out. And I got about 50 rods. I don't even think
I've owned 50 rods in the 10 years I've been kayak fishing.
Yeah, me either.
Well, you have to remember, when I was in the Marine Corps, I had a boat with a rod locker that held 25 at one time. So, I mean,
doesn't mean you got to fill it up.
But it did, though. But it does, though. So,
you must have the micro jig rod and the chatterbait rod.
Oh, dude, I had everything. I had type. That's what I'm trying to break myself with kayak. That's it. That's what I'm trying to break myself with kayak fishing, because I'm still doing that. To where that's why I bring 10 rods out with me when I fish, because every rod is a single technique. Minus
it's a good lesson for you, because kayak fishing is, above all other types of fishing, you got to learn to simplify, and you got to learn to have that multi-technique.
I agree with that.
But what's unfortunate is there's kayaks that are out now and accessories that are out that let you bring as many. Like if I wanted to, with my Yak Gadget Low Pro box and rod stagers, I could bring 15 rods out with me and have them all secured, and I could have 15 rods and get to them all easy, because you're getting 9 on the Low Pro, and then 3, so 9, 12, 15 rods, and that's if I didn't use the 2 on my kayak. So it's great for the industry, because people can do whatever they want. But it also is making me learn a lot harder, because I can still do whatever I want. I'm being
like a chore. It just sounds like a chore to me.
I agree, man. You know me, I only own 4 tackle boxes total. Like,
I think eventually that's the difference between wanting to go fishing one day. You can want to go fishing one day, but sometimes things like that will make you say, do I really want to get all that gear out?
Yeah. I've been there before.
And I've actually, this year, I broke myself of that. It was toward the end of last year. It was like one of the last river trips we went. And I was just like, you know what, man, I brought my Plano backpack, had some tackle in it, and I brought 3 rods out with me. That's all I had.
There you go.
And it felt good, because I was able to launch in like 5 minutes instead of 15.
That's how, it takes you longer to launch. I've noticed. I mean, not every time, but it has taken you way longer than that.
I would say almost every time. Like, I'm not against saying that, because it's, I mean, getting the kayak there, putting my box in there, getting my rods out, putting the motor on it. I mean, it's definitely
what will burn you out.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
that should be some goals you set this year, man, because I think it'll be a much more pleasant experience for you, and you'll find yourself fishing more, just for the simple fact that it's not a chore.
Oh, believe me, that's never been something to hold me back. I can't fish more because of work. If I could just quit, I would do that.
You guys are speaking my language right now. I'm in an inflatable. I'm using 3-4 rods depending on water clarity now, and I bring 1 tackle box with me.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I have 4 of the 3600 sizes in a small tackle bag. That's what I've gone down to, and I think that's a sweet spot for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's more than great. I just I'm working toward it.
Because at this point, at least being on the river for 10 years, I know what I want to throw. I know the couple lures that are new that I want to try. And
jerkbait.
I now know the extent of which I use them, and I know roughly how many I'll go through if I get snagged, if I lose one. Really only need like 4 or 5 of each item.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty much,
man. For sure.
Oh. Well, guys, I think we hit it, man. That was a good episode.
For
learned
sure.
a lot about the box. So,
yeah.
Final thing, $600 price point. Do you think it's worth it?
I say certainly, because of the purpose of the box. It did exactly what I wanted it to do. It got my rods up out of the cab of the truck and gave me more space to even get my paddle before it got stuck together. And when it was a 2-piece and it wasn't a 1-piece, that would go up there. I'm able to get pretty much the majority of stuff that I take to the river on a regular basis up out of the cab. I have plenty more space. And anytime I'm faced with a price point that is, the first thing you want to say about it is, oh, that's steep. That is a steep price point. The first thing I'm going to say is, how much am I going to use it? That is the biggest question. How much am I going to use it? Because I know if I'm going to use it enough, guess what? It's going to be price per use.
Yep.
And it's just a matter of time before I get my money's worth out of it. $600, no problem. If it was $700, I'd be looking into it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think
how much you're going to use it.
The plus of it with being 600, because I agree, it's 100% worth it to me. The plus of it being 600, and especially with the constraints of getting it, it opens up a lot of other companies to make their own. I'm really surprised we haven't seen any of the other options out there, because you see stuff for fly rods all the time. Everyone makes one for a fly rod. Almost all your rooftop companies.
Going back to that, just a little side note, you can actually put fly rods into it as well.
Yep. It can be used for
both.
They
do make one specific for fly rods, but you don't need it. Especially if you do conventional and fly rods and fly fishing, you can just get this box. But the other one is specific to fly boxes. And I think that's $100 to $150 more. And you can store less. You can only store like 4 rods in it.
Fly fishing's always more expensive.
That's true.
Yeah, we talked about that. I think when it was, I think it was the last show. It was with Aaron. It was, the fly rod community they are very. That's the very nitpicky community when it comes to fishing. But
they're on their high horse. When you got to smack them off.
What's that company? Is it Thule? No, the company that makes all the roof boxes.
Thule or Tool?
Tool.
Might be Tool.
It's Tool. Yeah. See, they make a fly box too. So, if more companies make this conventional box, I think that'll drive the price down to where it'll be more attainable for some people. But yeah, $600. It's definitely my.
And if anybody's looking for a product to really take on, we always hear about people making new stuff for the kayak fishing market or just the fishing market in general. That's one spot to jump into. I know that's a little bit bigger of an item than rod holders and rod stagers and crates and stuff, but there's not very many options for rod boxes on the market, and there would be plenty of buyers.
Oh yeah, all day.
Well, there you guys have it, man. We detail episode review on the Yakima Rod Box. So, anything? First, let you mention your social medias and stuff, Justin.
Yeah, you can follow me at jmarsh fishing on Instagram. Facebook is just Justin Marshall. I still post fishing stuff there, but it's kind of half personal page and half of a fishing page right now. I'm more so active on the Instagram page, and I may very well be getting into the TikTok stuff this year. We'll see how that goes.
Sweet, man. Well, Matt, you got anything else you want to
add? Last thing, Justin, you've got one. You got one rod, one reel, and one bait you can fish with. What are you picking?
I'll probably keep it simple and go with probably the most universal rod you can grab is a 7-foot medium heavy bait caster, and then I'm going to throw the Texas rig because you could take that just about anywhere. I could even fish that in the river if I really wanted to.
Like
just
Texas
a Senko,
rig worm?
Texas rig worm. Yep. Because that's a comfort spot for me, and there's still some things I need to learn about it, but it's a comfort spot.
Pulling it through grass, man.
My favorite.
Yeah,
it is fun. I love it too. I can't wait to do that.
A couple more days, boys. We'll be in Dale Hollow, and I guess I'm bringing my dry suit, so I don't know.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, the rain pushed off, so just keep bringing your dry suit so you won't need it, and I won't be wet in my rain suit because I'm just going to get soaking wet. So.
All right, guys. We'll close it out here. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode here on Paddle and Fin. Be sure to drop a 5-star rating, a thumbs up, or smash that subscribe button on any platform you're listening in on. Be sure to check us out on Waypoint TV, waypointtv.com. Make sure you sign up for the Fantasy Kayak Fishing League at paddleandfin.com/fantasy. You can support this show through Patreon, patreon.com/paddleandfin. Don't forget to check out the website, paddleandfin.com. Catch us on YouTube. If you got a question, comment, or want to see a future guest on the show, be sure to email us at paddleandfin@gmail.com. Shout out to our show supporters, Yak Gadget. You can check out all the fine kayak accessories at yakgadget.com. Pelican Professional. For all your cases, coolers, and lighting needs, go to pelican.com. Rocktown Adventures. your Midwest premier paddle sports destination, go to rocktownadventures.com. Eastport Marina, the beautiful destination on Dale Hollow Lake. If you're looking for lodging, kayaks, kayak accessories, or anything fishing related on the beautiful Dale Hollow Lake, go to eastport.info. And Jigmasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com and fill your tackle boxes today.